Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it a draw. Some nights I wish that my lips could build a castle. Some nights I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up, I still see your gospel. Lord, I'm still not sure what I stand for. Oh, what do I stand for? What do I stand for? Most nights I don't know anymore.
In late January 1968, the people of South Vietnam busily prepare for the traditional holiday of Tet, marking the Lunar New Year. Civilians decorate their shops and homes, and the military looks forward to a brief ceasefire, with many ARVN soldiers taking leave as the country celebrates. Communist insurgents are preparing for something different, however. North Vietnam chooses the ceasefire as the time to launch the general uprising, a massive coordinated offensive targeting every major base and urban area in South Vietnam. Viet Cong guerrillas prepare and mobilize, while NVA troops infiltrate the South via the Ho Chi Minh Trail. On January 31st, over 80,000 communist troops attack hamlets, districts, and cities across South Vietnam, including Saigon, and the previously untouched imperial capital of Hue. The traditional capital of Vietnam and a symbol of that country's rich cultural heritage, Hue is overrun by this Tet offensive. Viet Cong and NVA troops pour through the streets, arresting Catholics, scholars, and other enemies of the revolution who do not flee. By the 1st of February, the entire city, including the venerated Palace of Peace, is firmly in communist hands. Only the American MAC-V compound to the south of the Perfume River and the ARVN 1st Division headquarters to the north of the Citadel managed to hold out against the fierce NVA attacks.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president. But let men everywhere know, however, that a strong and a confident and a vigilant America stands ready tonight to seek an honorable peace, and stands ready tonight to defend an honored cause, whatever the price, whatever the burden, whatever the sacrifice that duty may require. Thank you for listening. Good night, and God bless all of you.
this only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all.
Shoot the kill! Shoot the kill! Come on, kill! 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 Come on! Come on! Shoot! Kill! That's it! Get him! Get him!
This is really a bad place to be in.
Living in a cell, doing time at the county jail. You might think his life is hell. He told me.
So first, can you introduce yourself?
I am Manuel Wells, and my friend Kevin here, I've known him since he was a young man, asked me if I would reminisce about my time in Vietnam. And reluctantly I said yes. I, like most Vietnam soldiers, really don't remember a great deal about what they did in Vietnam. We have some good memories of Vietnam, but we also have some rather harsh memories. We don't like to talk about them. However, I'll do my best to help things go forward. Again, my name is Manuel and last name is Wells, and I was in Vietnam in the years of 1967-68. I was in the Army for 3 years, and I was a military policeman.
So 2/3 of the Americans in Vietnam were drafted. Were you drafted or enlisted?
I would have enlisted, but however, I was drafted right after I graduated from high school in 1966. A month or so later, I got the greetings in the mail, and it was before I had enlisted. I believe every American son owes the United States government at least 2 years of their life, whether drafted or enlisted. I think that's the way they need to go. And it doesn't have to be in the Army. It could be in the civil service or anything to help the American people out, because we live in a great country. And if you've been around the world, you'll realize that America is a great country. Many faults, but still, by far, the greatest country that I know of.
Okay, next I'll show you a picture that was iconic during the war, and tell me what your thoughts about it is.
I think that's one of the greatest tragedies of the Vietnam War. And that was done, I remembered, I didn't know of it until I got back to the States, but I've seen several times in history over the period of time. And the fact that the man was handcuffed, standing there, and he was shot. He was shot by a commander of the Vietnam Army. He was an Army. And I forgot his rank, pretty high, I think. Anyway, he just took out the pistol and did what he did. And I don't think there's anything could be done to punish that guy for doing what he did. I think about that often. War is one thing, and a prisoner is another. And once you're captured, you've got to treat them humanely. And that was far from being a humane individual. It really hurts to even think about it, because I've seen people really messed up, and that takes away from the fact that some of these guys really got hurt. Arms blown off and legs blown off. Being in the MPs, we've seen quite a bit of that, because we usually was first on the scene. Most of the time it was in convoys. And I think about the people in Afghanistan and Iraq today, and I think about the soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq that run up and down the highways as military policemen. They do basically what we did, A lot rougher situation today over there, because it's calmed down a lot, but there's still a lot of death and a lot of people getting wounded the same way, legs and limbs blown off. And it's really tough on them back then and us today. It brings back too many memories.
When you returned to the U.S., what were your reactions and what did you think? Was anything going through your head or anything?
When I came back to the United States, I came back into California, San Francisco, and got out of the Army, processed through the system, and they went over us from head to toe and asked a bunch of questions, but we couldn't get out fast enough. We had spent our time there. I'd spent my 12 months in Vietnam in several places. Basically the Iron Triangle, from Saigon all the way up to Tay Ninh and everywhere's in between, and into Cambodia. But when I got back to the States, the plane landed, and it was a Northwest Orient flight, and it was a great airplane ride back, coming home. But when we got home, a lot of soldiers, not I, but a lot of soldiers were treated harshly, because I've talked with individuals that's got out of the Army after they got back, and they say they were spit on. I never saw any of that, but I did run into a situation one time when they sort of, what are you doing? You shouldn't have been over there in the first place. Well, if you'll remember in the beginning of this interview, I was drafted. I didn't enlist at the time, however I would have enlisted. But they didn't know what it is to serve. And I've said earlier in this, we've got a great nation. And everybody needs to serve this great nation. Forget the politicians and forget the politics. Remember what you've got every morning when you get up.
Vô đi. Thật là một thất vọng. Bọn họ tưởng đây là chiến thắng của họ. Và cuộc chiến này sẽ trở thành là một cuộc chiến của người Mỹ. với kết quả giống nhau, mọi người sẽ chết ở đây trước khi chúng ta đến đó.
So, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.